Huey reacts to Butcher's lie about being a federal agent. They load Translucent into Butcher's trunk and begin their getaway, only to learn that Translucent was only unconscious. Realizing that an alive Translucent poses a significant threat, Butcher enlists his former colleague Frenchie, a gunrunner who specializes in taking on soups. Translucent's disappearance doesn't go unnoticed, and Homelander begins his own investigation despite the resistance of Stillwell, who is more concerned with her own project of getting soups in the military. Meanwhile, Starlight is being prepared for her media debut. This becomes a point of conflict when she learns it's a team-up with the Deep. The Deep has his own problems, prompted by Homelander learning that the Deep told Stillwell about the plane he struck down. Hours of attempting to breach Translucent's defenses come to a head as Homelander picks up the trail, ending in an explosive confrontation. This has been a synopsis of episode 2 of The Boys, and this is the second episode of The Boys Are Back, a Thoroughly Thought podcast.
Welcome to the Thoroughly Thought Podcast. I'm Jonathan Rouse.
I am Genesis Ruiz.
And I'm Jordan Beeman.
And we just got done watching episode 2 of The Boys on Amazon Prime, and we're here to discuss our thoughts. So, who would like to begin?
Genesis, why don't you start this time?
I'm enjoying it. There's lots of things that as I'm going through this for the second time, I'm seeing little hints of stuff and foreshadowing and clever wordplay being used. It's fantastic. I'm enjoying going on this for a second time. I think my personal favorite moment this time was definitely how it ended. I think it's really powerful and a lot of what the energy it plays with at the ending.
I feel the same way. It was a very good second episode. A little weird. The first episode was very spread out, very open. You were out in the world, and this one just felt confined to just a very select few locations. But I suppose for the plot points they were trying to get out, it made sense to do that. But that's just, to me, a little bit of a downgrade, but I'm sure it'll get back out into the world and expanding this universe. So, yeah, that's what I thought. Jordan?
Second episode was much better than the first, in my opinion. We actually got to see more about the heroes' personalities and how much of a dick Homelander is.
Yeah.
He's a giant American dick.
And quite a bit sexist.
He's very sick.
Oh, yeah, that offhanded comment. I just think it's remarkable that a woman your age can have a kid, period.
I was
calling her very old.
Damn, yeah, no, I forgot he said that.
I was truly confused by that comment. Like, he's supposed to be the American Pie good guy and
doesn't do vengeance.
But
he's a misogynist.
I mean, I think we established at the end of episode 1 he's kind of a dickbag.
Do you think it's deliberate?
Do
you think that Homelander, not just like the American dream is more of a brand than it is a reality, and that Homelander's supposed to be deliberately reflecting issues in America? Do you think that's a deliberate choice they're making and trying to run with?
Okay, so the thing I was thinking about this is I was thinking of just a joke, like, oh man, this is like Inception, but with corruption. There's corruption within the corruption, but then I was like, no, that's actually just that's very much what they're trying to get across, is that, like, you look at our government the way it is now, it's just corruption upon corruption. There are small corrupt groups in this big corrupt group, and they have the same exact thing in this show, where it's like Homelander's going out and doing his own thing, but they're telling him not to do it, even though they themselves are doing a no-no.
So that brings in to a question: has Homelander done something like this before?
Yeah, that is a very good question. How many people has Homelander killed, and for what? Because all this dude did was, honest to God, we don't know the full details of what Compound V is or what the ramifications are. But, that was a business strategy to try to get a lower price. That's all he did, was negotiate to try to get a better price for his city.
Yeah.
And, you left it on. That's the dinghy.
Oh, well.
That's quite unprofessional, yes, see? I don't know where that part came from.
You see?
You see?
Look, he was just talking in a 50s accent.
I did do the 50s voice.
Is a time period thing an accent?
I would say
Kinda,
yes.
Anyway, Homelander, has he killed
Would
before?
that be hold on. Would that be an accent or a dialect?
This
Put a
is-
pin in that.
This has
Write that
literally
down.
nothing to do
Accent
with
versus dialect.
what we're talking about. All right, accent versus dialect.
That's a conversation to have another time.
All right, I don't have a pen. Oh,
That's-
yes I do. Anyway, keep going. Homelander. Good guy or bad guy?
Bad guy or
definitely-
worse guy?
He's definitely a bad guy.
Hitler or the devil? Both are pretty bad.
I'd say the devil.
It's
He's not as bad as him.
it's worse than the devil. I think he's an angry god.
He is a very angry guy.
Like no one's gonna stop him. What
What?
do you say?
You guys mentioned the God thing last time, so I was watching and I saw like the seven as like statues,
Okay.
Mhm.
Greek gods and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. They're definitely like given artistic depictions. They're like the statue of the seven, like in the I don't know what you call it, like the main
Like just
Hallway?
outside.
Yeah.
the main-
outside the meeting room. Yeah, it's definitely meant to depict them as larger than life. But I mean,
She literally called him a god. Like
Yeah,
gods
Yeah,
are supposed
gods
to
are
be pure.
that, yeah.
they have to stay that way. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Mhm.
I have such a hard time with some aspects of this because just trying to wrap your mind around what it would actually be like. Like, of course, everybody's like, oh, I wish superheroes and superpowers were real. But can you imagine the reality of grappling with that? That somewhere on the planet Earth is somebody who can shoot lasers out of his eyes, fly, and lift things like a million times better than you ever will be able
Is
to.
presumably indestructible.
Yeah, presumably
Yeah.
indestructible.
The whole world would be fighting over him.
Oh yeah. Or he'd be fighting the
The whole
world.
world, yeah. It's very interesting because we still haven't seen anything for any kind of competitor to Vought. As a matter of fact, there was a comment from the senator where he goes, "They're your heroes."
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of sounds like they got them all.
Yeah. I mean, because the senator very much was just, they have their America is made with or makes weapons. They use weapons. They don't use superheroes.
Right.
So it very much sounds like there's this weird sort of corporate prejudice against the superheroes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, I guess it was. I can't imagine the superheroes being used in a war, though.
You can't.
No, there wouldn't be war then. They would
Just
win in
be-
like seconds.
It would, yeah. It does seem like it would just be invasion and occupation.
Oh yeah, no. Like at some point, like the dude was straight up like, if we use soups, like they'd send nukes our way, and then he was just like, they'd catch the nukes. It's like, oh man, that's true.
I mean, like, think about that. What that is basically, like, superheroes just control where the jurisdiction of law is.
Mm-hmm.
Because superheroes are enforcers of law. Like, that's what they claim to be. That's how they operate.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, imagine if, like, say, I don't know, Canada just doesn't use superheroes, right? What are you going to do if Homelander stops crime? Tell him no?
Yeah.
And what if you do if, like, Homelander drops down and just starts knocking the shit out of, like, a building that's like a marijuana dispensary because, like, marijuana is illegal.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, no, it's not. We legalized it in Canada. And Homelander just gets in your face and goes, marijuana is illegal. You can't say no. Marijuana is illegal now. As long as he's up there, marijuana is illegal.
That's true. That's very true. Until they light the plant on fire around him.
And then he gets high. And
He
then,
gets hot.
oh, my God. Oh, God, no. Incredibly powerful super beings being high.
Oh god.
That'd be horrifying.
They'd go from malevolent to malevolent very quickly. I butchered
Imagine
those
how
two
much he
words.
could eat.
Oh my god. He would create even more.
Do they have
horrible
higher
things.
caloric intake?
They would have
Superheroes?
to.
You're right. They absolutely have to. He literally fires beams of energy out of his eye. That's at
Yeah.
least like a bunch of cookies.
But we've
A
never
bunch
seen
of cookies.
we've never seen anyone eat in this series either. Any of the superheroes. Not even Starlight.
We saw her try to eat in the first episode, and Mom was like, "You don't need that."
Yeah,
Stop."
no, because she was like, yeah, keep your figure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was bulimic.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But was that before she got her powers or after?
She was born with her
She was
powers.
born with her powers. That was something that was stated in the previous episode.
Right. Now her secret identity.
Her secret identity is blown.
Yeah, no, it's gone.
That's
How did she have one to begin with? Especially in Des Moines. It's not
That's
like she wore
in
a
the
mask.
the small country town
Town
of
of
Des
Des
Moines.
Moines.
Oh man.
She was just in normal clothes.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing she changed was her outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
She's got to take a lesson from fucking
I don't
Clark
know.
Kent. Get a pair of nice
I
pair of
feel
glasses.
like if I went to high school with somebody, and then there was also a superhero running around, and they were jacked, and like the person at school like hunched over and was nervous and awkward, there would definitely be the Clark Kent effect where I just don't even imagine those two are the same person.
Till some lady sees her on Twitter and is like, "Oh my God, is that Anna Johnson or whatever?"
Yeah.
She was bulimic.
Obviously recognized her right away.
God,
Yeah.
social media. Ooh.
That's So go ahead.
You
No?
go.
Oh, me? Okay. That actually brought. Okay, so in the last episode, maybe they addressed it. I don't think they addressed it here, but are they actually working with the law, or are they their own thing? Are they just doing it for media? Because if they're just doing it for like the media and the cameras, I mean, they're actually like interfering with police work. Wasn't that what that would be?
So,
Go
you go.
ahead, Genesis.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure, based on what I've heard from that scene where Butcher is talking to the deputy director of the CIA
Mm-hmm.
or FBI, I don't remember which one it
It
was.
was CIA.
It was
CIA, yep.
He's talking to her, and it sounds like they have files on all of the soups, and they used to go after them. They used
That's
to.
right. And then Butcher like basically made it suicide to go after him.
So it sounds like maybe at one point it was significantly stricter on soups, and I'm pretty sure, basically by the tone of that conversation, that if it's not technically legal, it's all but legal now. Like, I don't know if they ever went through any period where they had to litigate it to be okay for them to do that, but I think it's on a similar basis as like the show Cops, where they're doing police work, there just happens to be cameras and stuff around.
Okay.
So like YPD.
Right.
Yeah.
That brings. Are the crimes staged or something?
That's a good
was-
question.
yeah, 'cause
because
they
the
straight
crime
up-
itinerary.
Yeah, they crime itinerary. They had like everything set up and when it was gonna happen, where it was gonna happen.
Could you imagine you're like poor and you don't know what you're gonna do? Your family's struggling and you want to put your baby girl through college, and then Vought Media comes forward and it's just like, if you let the deep punch the shit out of you and break your bones, not only will we cover your medical expenses, but you're gonna get this nice lump sum of cash from I don't know what you call it, but they get paid for it.
Literally risking death though, because like I mean, you saw the way Deep was punching those guys.
Oh my
like,
God.
Holy crap!
What if you're the guy that Homelander melts the gun into the hand of?
Ooh.
They have to be aware of this, because the cameras are right there.
It's that thing where people don't see what they want to see.
Yeah.
Like,
they just see a
and
good
especially
guy.
when you consider the fact that it's Vaught's a media company, they probably, I would imagine, they're like, I think Vought might be kind of similar to what Disney is, where they just got their fingers in all kinds of pies all over the media industry, and like, you don't mess with Disney. You do not mess with Disney.
Yeah,
So they
yeah.
might get more favorable news. This is speculation, but they might get more favorable news coverage. Stuff might be swept under the rug for them. Just like little scandals here and
Right.
there that they're able to pay to.
Like the A-Train thing in the hospital.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's awful.
That was cringe.
yikes, dude.
That was oof.
Maybe Translucent can come by next week.
Just the doctor.
No. Oh, there's a very, very dark sense of humor in this show that I love.
Oh no, absolutely, I love it too. It was like so you're just sitting there like almost cringing, but it's so just funny. I mean, A-Train comes in with this huge ego, like hell yeah, man, I'm here. What's up? And there's just this dying kid of cancer, like who the fuck are you? You're not who I fucking wanted. Just very straight, and you can just see the ego die. And it just becomes very just awkward for everybody.
Yeah, it's really not good. Really not good. And again, it's interesting, actually, now that we're talking about this. We're kind of playing with the series at the moment with the side effects of taking translucent. And, like, we're seeing the good he did. Not necessarily it balances out to, everything he does being the freaking weird voyeuristic creep he is.
Yeah.
But, there's a child who isn't going to get their death wish because they took translucent.
Yeah, they Oh, we talk about spoilers. They blew the fuck out of
They
Translucent.
blew the fuck out of translucent.
He's dead.
Translucent's very dead.
He's a dead man.
I was very surprised in that last interaction between them that Translucent actually walked away and didn't punch Huey in the face.
Yeah, I'm
The
surprised.
same thing you see in every TV show.
I'm surprised he didn't straight up be like, he had him just clearly very threatened if he let him walk away just a little bit. So I'm surprised he didn't try and reach for the remote or detonator.
I really think he was very confident in his ability to read people. That was kind of established in that scene earlier with him and Huey. And I think he really did feel for Huey. And it almost makes Huey the predator in this situation. Where he capitalized off of not only Translucent's disregard for Huey as, as he stated numerous times, someone less than him.
Mm-hmm.
He took advantage not only of Translucent thinking so highly of himself, so little of Huey, but also, the amount of pity he had. I don't know how much of it was genuine, but, I really do think Translucent kind of meant it when he gave him the advice, you really should run for the hills.
I took the "you should run for the hills" as we are going to find you the moment we are free.
Yeah.
He did not need anybody's help to just punch a hole through Huey's head.
Except for the fact that there was plastic in him. Or explosives in him.
They weren't set to go off.
Yeah.
He blocked the trigger and he wasn't going to go fishing for it.
And that
Sure, but he doesn't know there could be a second
but
detonator.
the second he said run for the hills, that was before they put the bomb up his ass.
Was it?
Yeah. It almost looked like Huey was gonna do it, but then he just saw the little, always wash your hands sign.
Keep your hands clean.
Keep your hands clean.
Well, he kept them clean. Every other part of his body, not so much.
Yeah.
Were his hands clean after the boom? I don't think the hands were
I
clean.
don't think anything was clean. I think everything.
I
just,
think
His ass was probably clean.
whose ass? Huey's.
Huey's.
Oh yeah, Huey's
Translucence was blown off.
ass. Translucent's ass doesn't exist anymore.
It does. It wasn't. It was destroyed, but it can't be destroyed out of the universe. It's over there, over there, over there. Some of it's on Huey.
You're right. Do you think they actually plan on Huey blowing him up? And they ran out to the van?
Butcher and
Yeah.
Frenchie? No, I don't think that was the plan. I think they were just trying to get rid of Homelander.
They're gonna come back in and they're gonna be like, what the fuck happened?
We're talking about how it ends, but we've yet to mention
Yeah, go ahead.
we've yet to mention the beginning part, which is, Huey's initial relief when Translucent was alive.
That
That's
quickly
right.
turned to despair and
He was very happy that he was alive.
I don't know what kind of mental gymnastics he went through in that moment, but he was like, yes, the man we tried to kill is alive. This is good.
This is great. And then Butcher's just like, no, this is very not good.
So you guys have seen Breaking Bad, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So in the first season where Walt hasn't killed anyone yet, but he has the person locked in the basement?
Yes.
Yes.
I can't help but think that Walt's dilemma with killing that guy was kind of like Huey's dilemma here.
Yeah.
And not to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
But then he pretty much forced him to.
I think in
Well-
go ahead. Keep going.
He didn't really force him, but he
Well,
still did it, though.
He did force him to. Are you talking about Breaking Bad or this?
Huey, right?
Okay. Yeah. No, Huey was not forced to do what he did. Now, in a sense he was, because of the situation, and he didn't know whether Translucent saying you're going to be the hero and all the good things he was saying were true.
Mm-hmm.
And odds are they weren't. So he was kind of like in that situation where the only way to know he stayed not in the most amount of trouble
Yeah.
was to go into a little more trouble right now.
Yeah, no, it in both those instances, it was just like the character's acceptance of like, this is the new world I have entered.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no other way. Like, he's not just gonna walk away and my life's gonna be great. He's gonna walk away and I'm still gonna get fucked.
That's right. And I think what both stories are trying to hit at with these storylines is like the concept they're tapping into is man's struggle to cling to innocence and cling to ideals in a world where such things don't really work how we'd like them to.
Mm-hmm.
In a world of evil and corruption and complicated, messy situations, it's really hard to cling to things like that.
Yeah.
Alright, so next we move on to Starlight and the D. No, wait. What would be next?
I mean, I don't think we're going in any particular order. I think we're just...
We're just kind of talking about what
No,
I'm talking about.
the Deep finds. The
Yes!
Deep.
The Deep. Okay, yes, the
So,
Deep. Yes,
so
yes.
could we, if we are gonna do that, could we start with Homelander's meeting with Stillwell?
Stillwell?
Yeah, because that's kind of where it starts.
Yes, okay. So, Homelander goes in and Stillwell is breast pumping?
Yeah, she has a baby.
And because she's had a baby and she's trying to feed it with the breast milk. Good on you, Stillwell. Women empowerment, am I right? Can I get an amen from the breast pumpers in the back? Amen. All right.
Got him. Thank you. We have an audience member in here, ladies and gentlemen.
No, we don't.
Pumping breast milk.
What? That's a weird audience. Stay. Oh wait, no.
Don't let Homelander see you. He'll think you're too old.
Yeah, a very rude comment he made.
Yeah. So there's this weird dynamic that those two have that I'm very
Yes.
confused
Yes,
about.
yes, yes,
but
yes.
I think I'm supposed to be confused at this point.
Homelander loves her, from what I can gather.
He was what?
He's in love with her, from what I can gather.
I'm unsettled. I'm unsettled.
Okay, so if he is in love with her, is it just like oh man, like or is it this weird, creepy obsession type of I'm in love with this person, like I'm obsessed with this person?
I mean, while we're talking about this, he does stare through the wall and just watches her.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing it's the second one.
It seems like an obsession.
It's a very weird obsession. But it could. Part of me was also sitting there and was like, could this actually just maybe we're misreading it and it's more of like a sort of like resentment towards this woman.
That's also possible.
Because she does. So Homelander, he turns out last episode when he blew up the plane, he did that on his own.
Yes.
He wasn't ordered to do that.
That was a independent move by Homelander. Made no attempts.
Yeah.
That was not ordered to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And Stillwell does not seem actually all that worked up over it, which implies he may have done stuff like this before.
It almost seemed like, dude, you're doing this again, and we've talked about it. You can't be doing this. Yeah.
Well, there goes your mind control theory from the first episode.
You're right. That's gone. That's out the window.
All right, this is our first theory death.
Oh God, I hate it when theories die. It's the worst. It could be if it's a weird obsession with her, a different sort of mind control. Different control.
From down below.
Head control.
Head control.
These are innuendos, guys.
I think they know.
Just making it obvious.
Good. We need the
Well done.
disclaimer. Good job.
Thank you. So they have the meeting goes on, and weirdly enough, it doesn't stay on that topic because Homelander wants more responsibility in the company.
So it seems that they really treat him as almost just like an actor.
Yeah.
Like no real say, just sort of like you're the pretty face, but we're in control. And yeah, he wants more responsibility. You're right.
He's directly petitioning. I was trying to set it down without making noise, Rouse. Anyway, like he was petitioning because he was making the argument. He names out the people on floor 50 or 82, which I imagine is the executive area.
Yeah.
And he's like, they don't know what's going on. I do. I'm the one who's there. I know what the fans want. He's making the argument that he's the face. He's the one doing the talking. He's the one saving the day. So he should have a bigger role and a bigger say in what's going on in the company.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting dynamic. Like, he insulted them, not insulted them, but implied that their degrees didn't matter as much as what he was doing. So, I'm not entirely sure what his motivations are for that. Like, he says he loves Vought Media.
Mm-hmm.
He loves Vought Media, quote, just as much as you, is what he said to Stillwell. And clearly he's going to go very... I mean, he says he did that for her, so I don't know if it was because of her interest in the company or for her as a person.
Mm-hmm. Because he was eavesdropping on the
The
conversation they were
between
having
her and the mayor.
about Compound V.
Yes.
So,
Jordan, what do you think? Did he shoot the plane down for her as a person or for her job?
He did it because, like, he doesn't want the superheroes to be extorted. Because they're bigger than everyone else.
That's a good point.
he could be saying, I did it for you, just as more of like a cover-up, like, who's more
I did
worried
it
about
for
himself.
you,
Yeah.
Vought Media.
Mm-hmm.
That's possible. That's
But how
possible.
long has he had these ambitions then? 'Cause he's been like the leader for a long time.
We don't actually know how long the Seven's been a thing, do we?
So the Deep, when he walked in, was surprised to see Homelander there, just Homelander there.
Right, because
and he said-
Homelander had sent out a message calling for a meeting.
Yeah, so he has the ability to call for meetings and everything, the authority to call for meetings among the Seven. But like, is that?
I mean, it's also kind of established that the Deep's kind of not taken seriously and no one cares.
Mhm.
And it's possible he just Homelandered over some scheduling boy. Said send an email to the Deep.
He Homelandered some Deep.
He Homelandered. He claimed the Deep for the homeland.
He did.
Yeah, so, right, so, because she, Stillwell, found out about the plane wreck from the Deep.
From the Deep.
We got here really roundabout. But yes, so the Deep had told her, and because he went to the bottom of the Hudson?
Yeah.
He went to the bottom of the Hudson.
No, it wasn't the Hudson.
Was it not the Hudson?
No, I don't think it was the Hudson.
It was somewhere.
He went to the bottom of the river.
The bottom of the place where the plane crashed.
Yes.
And he found the wreckage of the plane, gave a report to the media,
Mhm.
told them about it, and then proceeded to give more information to Stillwell, and basically implicated Homelander explicitly.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
There are
Homelander's
these
I-beams.
two little I-beams. Look like they shot down a plane.
Would fit right inside Homelander's big, dumb, blonde head.
I'm not saying names, but
I'm not saying names. I'm just saying eyelash welded onto the plane.
It's very interesting that was Deep's. That was his move.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm trying to understand the Deep's motivation for doing that.
It could be. He could have just done it for the sake of just. He thought that's what he was supposed to do.
Like, let people know, hey, Homelander's out and about doing shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like,
Who does the Deep answer to? Does he answer to Homelander, or does he answer to the media company? Because it seems the media company thinks it's them, but I think in actuality it's Homelander. After that interaction,
Yeah. Because Homelander treated it as though he went like over his head or like behind his back.
like, how dare you disrespect me like this? How dare you go beyond me? That's not your prerogative.
Yeah. So so then maybe the rankings are like the executives, Stillwell, and then like Homelander, and then Homelander is like the immediate like manager, quote unquote, for the Seven.
It's an interesting thought. I don't know. I almost feel like everything that Homelander does and like pressures himself into every position is unofficial.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like if
he's the assistant to the regional manager.
right.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like if who's somebody that everybody's like is a really petulant, kind of bratty movie star with specific requirements.
Mike Myers.
Okay. It's like if Mike Myers was on set and they're in the middle of a shot, and then he just walks over when the director leaves away from the camera crew, and he starts saying, okay, this is what you got to do. I know what he's saying, and he's right. Do that. But this is unrelated to that, and this is what I'm saying, and you better do it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, are you going to say no to Mike Myers? Like,
That guy's Shrek.
that guy is Shrek.
I don't think you say no to Shrek.
He can also kill you in the Halloween movies.
That's
Mike Myers.
But yeah, no, that's true. Like, yeah, the executives could be telling the Seven to do one thing, but Homelander's just like, okay, that's nice. Here's what you're actually gonna do.
Yeah.
So it's like, who are you more afraid of, the executives with the contracts, or Homelander with the
Laser
the
eyes.
laser
and the
eyes,
beef bod that can punch a hole
and
through
the
you.
possible psychotic mindset?
God, his smile is so unsettling.
Oh, at first it was kind of charming, like, oh, okay, and then he blew up the plane, and it's like, uh-oh. Now it's just like, oh man.
Oh, man, indeed.
Oh boy.
So let's talk about how bad his eyesight is. When he was staring at his own picture 2 feet away,
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
he was like, "You can't see it now, but I'm very close to the mic."
Yeah, no. He's demonstrating for us. But no, he was very close to that picture. And then Starlight
Yes.
walks past, and Homelander comments on her street attire,
Yes.
secret identity, and he's like, "Oh, I gave up on having a secret identity."
Which is
And she was
weird.
like, oh,
So he's just constant. I guess I've never seen him not in the outfit, and I guess the implication is that he's never
Always.
not. Yeah, he's always in the outfit.
Mhm.
I imagine obviously he takes time to clean himself and groom and whatever, but that's what he puts on. He wakes up, shit, showers, and shaves, and then he gets into the Homelander outfit.
It could be okay. So I know one of the things we talked about in the last episode was it's not so much mind control as it is just like a mindset that they've instilled upon them. Like, you answer to us.
Right.
You know, like, yeah, you have the powers, but we're the ones in charge.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be like, you know, he gave up his secret identity to be much more loyal to the company.
Okay.
And so when he does things like he goes to blow up the plane, when he says, "I did it for you," it's like, hey, I did this. Give me more responsibility. You know, let me be more.
I'm ready for more.
Yeah.
I can take on
Uh-huh.
more.
So when he's like, because it's revealed he's not staring at his picture, he's staring through the wall at Stillwell.
Yeah.
And the sort of the way it's shot and the music, the sound that's sort of playing, it makes this very just unsettling moment. And that's when
Yeah.
it changes from like, because at first I was like, oh, he's probably in love with this woman. And when they showed that scene, I was like, no, it might just be more of a resentment. Like, I do all this for you, and all I get is you're a pretty, like, all I get told in return is you're a pretty face, and that's how it's always going to be.
It's not really the first place. It's not just Homelander where they're playing with this concept either,
Mhm.
because the Deep, during that confrontation with Starlight earlier, when she calls him out on his bullshit and what he did,
Yeah.
he's complaining about it being demeaning and how he's capable of doing more than water crimes. Like
Yeah.
his, aside from his ability to swim and talk to animals, his powers don't go away while he's on land.
Yeah, no.
So he feels underutilized, and that what they're having him do is demeaning.
Mm-hmm.
Very poor choice of words to say demeaning to
I was
him.
gonna
I
say,
know.
very ironic that he'd be like, it's demeaning to the woman he assaulted.
Yeah. And she rightly calls him out on it. And
Oh yeah.
she calls him out not only on him being a horrible person, but that he's not half of what he claimed to be.
Mhm.
And that he's a joke, even to the other people in the Seven. And then she flat out threatens him. And the Deep is done.
The Deep's done.
The Deep is done. Like, what's really sad about this is if the Deep wasn't a terrible person, like, she was a sweet Iowa girl.
Yeah.
They would have absolutely been great friends, and he would have had, like, an ally and someone to confide in the Seven.
Oh, yeah.
But because he's such a piece of crap, like, you know how nice Starlight seems to be? God, such a piece of you have to be such
Yeah,
a piece of
he's-
shit for her.
He's a very piece of. He's
for
a
her,
huge-
but, like, because I can't.
So, mhm.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to put my
No
words out here that
no.
you have to be such a piece of shit for
Yeah.
someone like Starlight to flat out threaten you.
It's interesting, and this isn't to justify what he did at all, so don't take it that way. But like at some point, no. At some point, he says, "When I started, I had shit thrown at me too." So it could be this weird mindset of like, he was just in of like, well, this is just how you get initiated.
Oh, this is how it works.
Yeah.
You get,
Again, not justifying what he did at all.
But you think that might have been his
But,
mindset, and that
yeah.
like, well, I'm entitled to this. She's new.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Well,
with
still a piece of shit
professional
No, it's a very
sports,
piece of shit mindset, but
It's like professional sports and hazing
yeah.
and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know how big of a piece of shit the rest of the
That's-
other heroes
That's
are.
true. The Deep is the only one, aside from Homelander. Deep and Homelander are the only two who have really had it fleshed out how big of a piece of shit they are. They did establish that the translucent is like a pervert.
He's
and
a pervert.
weirdo.
I think he not only is he a pervert, but I think he had much more of like a, because he straight up said like he sits back and watches people, so he
Yeah.
probably had a very psychological control. Like he could have more of a psychological control over people, since he just basically knows their every move and everything. He just spends all his time observing others. So that could have been his thing, but he's fucking he. So we didn't get much from him.
At least we got Black Noir showing up for one scene and not saying anything. I don't know anything about him.
Genesis just has the
Why-
largest grin on his face. He knows something we don't. He better keep it to himself.
I'm gonna keep it to myself. But what I know, you're gonna say, why didn't you just share this with us? Because it's, God,
Don't say anything.
I'm not going to. But it's so funny.
Beep. All right.
Don't beep. What I know about Black Noir, when you know it about Black Noir, you're gonna go, wow, Black Noir, huh? And that's it. And that doesn't, you think you might have an idea of what I'm talking about, but you don't. And I can't clarify because we're keeping you spoiler free. And I don't like dwelling on Black Noir, but I am gonna say Black Noir is my single favorite character in this show.
Makes me guess it's possibly
Oh.
Huey's father.
Oh no!
Oh my God, that'd be insane.
No, that's Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg is Black Noir.
What?
Insane. Insane.
I mean, you guys mentioned how much you like Simon Pegg last episode.
I do like Simon Pegg.
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. How come? Well, what
And
connection? Just because we like him,
I
that
don't know,
doesn't.
just his smile.
That's my
he said,
my signature Simon Pegg smile.
He said he's my single favorite character.
And you
I
did
don't know.
say you like Simon Pegg.
I did.
Did George
The dots are
crack the
connected.
code?
It's been blown wide open. Everybody
Oh, it's been
at
so
home,
long.
I'm sorry. This was supposed to be a spoiler-free one. Black Noir is Simon Pegg.
Oh.
I think you're
Is
just
that-
trying to throw me off the track.
Well, I suppose you have to keep watching the show and find out.
Oh. He did it. I can look it up right now.
I mean, that defeats the purpose of all this.
It does. It does. Then it's just upsetting.
And at this point, what is the point of what's her name? Amazon. I'm just gonna call her Amazon.
I don't remember.
She
Maeve?
she
Like-
hasn't done anything.
She has not. She has had like 2 lines.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that she was actually the first soup we saw,
Yes.
and she's barely done anything.
I think that might be deliberate. I think it's supposed to be a commentary on women representation in media. Because she's one of the 7,
Mm-hmm.
but we're not following her at all. We've seen almost nothing from her aside from her interaction with Starlight,
True.
who we know has only recently had her media debut. I don't know. I feel like it might be a
she's
meta
new
commentary.
though, so that's probably why they were like getting her ready and prepped for her media debut.
But like,
Debut.
assumedly, they all have teams for this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't know. But I'm not trying to say something about it in world. I think it's a deliberate choice in production to introduce her first and then hold off on her. I feel like it might be a kind of commentary on, and I might be wrong, but I feel like deliberately her being our introduction to superheroes, but her having approximately like a small fraction of the screen time kind of, in my mind, paints a picture of like media companies don't give as much attention to female stars. But that's just my interpretation.
Yeah.
I don't know about like they don't give enough attention to.
I didn't say enough.
Sorry, my bad.
I said as much.
But like you look at like music and they're far more represented than males, usually. They are.
There's more. Are you saying there's more female stars than male stars in the music industry?
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's correct. I don't have facts or figures.
Name off the top of your head. Name 3 music stars.
Justin Bieber, Jason Derulo, what's her name? Billie Eilish.
I had a feeling she was going to come up. And you brought her up. She's kind of like Starlight in The New Girl in the Industry.
Okay.
And that's why she's getting so much attention in Starlight compared to whatever her goddamn name is.
One of the people at the political talk thing when Stoll was trying to court the senators, whatnot, called her Maeve.
What's up, Maeve?
Yeah.
Maeve?
Yeah, Mave, I think, or Mauve. Maeve.
It's a very disappointing name.
It might just be her actual name.
Damn.
Her parents should be slapped.
Oh,
So,
that's a hot take from Jordan.
I could name
someone
her-
named Maeve is listening to this. It's just like, oh,
I know what must be done. And then they cock their hand.
You could have named her any other name and you chose Maeve?
man, I don't think it's her parent. I think,
Well, he just said it could be her real name.
yeah.
Alright, back on track. Where were we?
We got really sidetracked there.
That's honestly a hot take, Jordan.
I bet. Back to Starlight's media debut.
Yes.
So, when they had the cameras on her, she did great.
Mhm.
But then, after that, she roughed up 2 hoodlum boys.
Yes, she stopped an attempted sexual assault
Yeah,
and got punished for it by the media company.
because she didn't get the name from the actual victim,
Yes.
and the guys just said they were just getting drunk, and she beat the hell out of them. And
You
the
know.
video evidence that's out there supports their claim more.
Like liars. Yeah,
Yeah.
lying like liars.
Yeah.
Who was just filming this random sexual assault?
Also, why isn't the person who posted it coming forward to be like, oh yeah, it was an assault, I was recording it? I remember they had a woman bent over the car when she stepped in.
Why was the dude even there recording?
Yeah.
I mean,
Just some back alley. Well, okay,
People
I take it
record
back. He could have
everything.
heard screaming and then just recorded.
I mean, just to record it and not even call the cops or
It's
go out
the
and look.
bystander.
people do that all the
Thing,
time
yeah.
though. I feel like
It's-
that's actually pretty prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
I guess nowadays it is.
Yeah. Like, you'd be surprised, like, how many people just, they hear a crime being committed and the first thing they do is, oh, here's my phone. Like, it's getting to the point where they're starting to be, like, charged as accomplices because they don't call the cops, they just record it.
Yeah.
But,
Which is good.
so that could have been a very slight commentary. They're not even, like, the person who recorded just posted the video for the views and didn't actually.
It didn't even provide context.
Yeah.
They just were looking for the social media gratification.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, doing so Starlight with her bulimia.
Yeah, that other
Yeah.
person from her past.
Ooh.
Rouse just slapped Mike.
I'm sorry, Mike.
It's good.
All right, good.
And that
But-
was Mike the microphone.
He's a character.
He is not. We don't.
He's from Milwaukee.
I quit.
Why? I'm not paying you.
You heard it here first. I'm not gonna say that.
No, say it, coward.
Nope. I know things go online. I'm not saying that.
Oh, all right. What, you've dropped hatred for the name Maeve, and now you're just straight up saying, I'm not going to say it, it's
Well,
going
Maeve's a
online.
stupid name.
You're doubling down on it.
Doubling down!
you-
That's the one thing I'll double down on. It's a stupid goddamn name.
I have a daughter named Maeve.
You have a daughter?
No.
Well, you should be slapped.
Jesus.
You could have named her Amanda, Meg, anything.
Don't come at me with Meg. Say Maeve is bad, and then say
I
Meg is a
couldn't think of another
preferable
name.
alternative.
Ashley. Some other A word.
I'm not a fan of ones. We're about to get very off topic.
We're very off topic already. It's your hatred of the name Maeve is really dragging us to different places.
It's a stupid goddamn name.
All right.
I'm just gonna call it Amazon.
Okay.
Amazon works. Wonder Woman is what I called her in the last one.
Yeah.
That's where I thought they were going with their character name.
I mean, now we don't know where they're going. With
What?
it. We haven't
Okay, so
seen
the
her.
thing that confuses me is that she was wandering around in her street clothes, right? So like, You know how like Superman like runs into like the phone booth and changes,
Yeah.
and like Spider-Man has his outfit under his clothes.
Yeah.
So like, why doesn't she have this? Like, they don't do the same thing
That
here.
seems unrealistic.
Unless
Like,
all the crime.
Maybe
I
A
suppose
Train
that's
could
fair.
do it.
I guess that's fair. She has much more flamboyant outfit.
And not just that, but like, she's a person. Like, she doesn't have super speed. What's she supposed to do? Like,
That's true.
someone's getting assaulted.
But you understand what I'm saying? Like
She starts fumbling with her pants.
But you get what I'm saying? Like most cases, like they have that where they're just under their street clothes, and it's interesting that that wasn't the case here.
The costumes
But I
in
guess
this
it's
do
more-
seem like more realistic in that they're not skin tight
Actually,
spandex. They're really clunky.
It's really interesting. The costumes in this are like very like they're like like showman costumes.
Yeah.
They're very
that's
like
because that's what they
eye-catching
are.
and yeah, they're like actors.
Have we
They're-
actually seen any evidence that any of the suits require any degree of armor from like guns or anything?
translucent?
No.
He doesn't need any. He's got.
He
his own.
doesn't. Oh
Like,
wait,
he's
you're asking?
indestructible.
Like,
Do
not-
they need it?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, yeah, no. We haven't seen any evidence that they would need it.
I don't even think that would be classified as armor. It's just like if you're doing a stage show.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, they seem like purely cosmetic things.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Like, is it possible that, like, if you were to fire a bullet right at a soup, that it would just, even if they weren't super invulnerable, like, translucent, that it would just, like, leave a bruise?
Mm-hmm.
Like, shooting's not much more than, like, a solid
Didn't
punch.
they? No, they tried shooting at Wonder Woman in the first episode, in the beginning of it, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
now,
she, like,
granted, we don't know if they all have that level of ability.
Yeah, that's true.
But, that being said, judging by the costumes, so far, it does seem to me that they're just significantly, like, there's a baseline amount of strength and resilience increase in soups.
But we did learn one way to kill him from the inside out.
That for him.
I would think it'd be for all of them.
Actually,
for sure.
so I think that's interesting. What if like for each, if they so if
You
the show
can't knock
turns
the rest
into,
of them out so easily.
Yeah.
So like, what if for the like, if it goes this way for like the next episodes, they take each soup out in like an episode or whatever. I don't think that's gonna happen. But
Unlikely.
like you just start seeing it like, they start having to figure out the weaknesses for each one to take them down. I think that'd be really interesting.
That
to
is
see.
fascinating.
Yeah, because I liked it when he was like watching and the turtle was on the TV and he was like, "I know what to do," and then he sticks the bomb up his ass.
Thankfully, that wasn't in graphic detail. Just
Unlike
expositioned about.
Yeah.
Unlike the senator and the big man.
Oh, that's something else we didn't talk about. They just straight up blackmailed the senator.
They did to get it off the Senate floor
Yeah.
or
So-
out of committee.
on-
Out of committee.
So, I think that brings up another interesting thing. So the shapeshifter. So it was he got seduced by this lady who turned out to be this
Shape-shifting man.
man.
Yeah.
And they used that to blackmail the senator having sex with him.
Yeah.
So what I think is interesting about that was she that wasn't like some well-known superhero. That was just like
Well,
somebody they had in reserve.
they did have a name.
Mhm.
They used a soup name for it.
A
It was like she said a name. Was it
I mean-
shapeshifter? It was something.
Shapeshifter or copycat was the only.
Copycat.
That's what it was. I think it is a soup. I think that's
Well, there
his
is-
default form. I find it unlikely that that's the form he takes out on the streets as copycat.
Yeah. No, so that's interesting that they just kind of have like that they hold on to like some of them, just like they're not part of the seven. They're not in the spotlight. They're just sort of behind the scenes.
Well, there's also Popclaw was name dropped, and she was referred to as a D-lister. I think there's different tiers.
yeah, like normal celebrities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, they mentioned like 200 superheroes in the first episode.
Yeah, there was Nambian King.
And
name
then
being-
the
That
guy.
was his name.
Oh, was that the one they were trying to send to Baltimore?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, him as well. So, there's at least 200 superheroes.
There's at least 200, and it's crazy.
That's
that-
within this corporation only, though.
That's true. There could be more corporations we don't know about.
Or just people like Starlight who aren't affiliated with any of them.
Yeah, because she straight up said like when she would patrol in Des Moines, she just did it on her own independently.
Was it pro bono?
Hmm?
Like,
I don't think she got
was she
paid.
doing it for free?
Yeah, I think she was.
That's the implication I got when she was talking, because they were
Wow.
like, "Here's some insights," and she said, "Oh no, thank you. I prefer to
With
do
her
my own
personality,
investigation."
yeah, I think it'd be
It's-
for free.
Yeah, it definitely. She gives off like she does it. She seems very. She talked about being pure. She seems like close to that. Obviously, no human being.
I think her power set and
is
stuff like
pure,
that is a reflection of that being her concept.
Mm-hmm.
That she's a pure-hearted person.
Yeah, even her outfit, just like this white, a very clean looking.
White and gold.
Yeah, bright.
I wonder if they're going to play with that at all anymore.
Can't wait for when she turns evil in the next season, and instead of white and gold, it's black and silver.
It's black and blue, just like that funny, haha, what color's the dress?
Yeah,
It was whatever color you don't think it was.
sure.
Whatever you thought you were wrong, quote Jordan.
I'll fight you over that.
Especially with a name like Maeve.
Mm-hmm.
I'd stop it.
What?
I had to restrain myself right there.
I know.
Let's talk about some of the, like, we've talked a little bit about the costumes and what those might mean.
Mhm.
Let's talk a little bit more about, like, some of the set design and, like, the lighting. Because if we start at the beginning, it's gotten, from the beginning of the episode to the end, it got progressively brighter,
Mm-hmm.
and then it got dingier again. Because, so it starts off, and we start off with the revelation that Butcher's lying, right?
Yeah.
And we're in the store, and then as he agrees to follow Butcher into he doesn't know what, it's in the dark, and there's just occasional lights as they're having this conversation. He's trying
It's
to
in the
grasp,
shadows.
right?
Yeah.
He's trying to grasp what's happening, and I thought that was a very interesting choice to go. Like, it was a very smart choice to kind of let the lighting and the scenery speak to that, because inside the tight framing of the car, you know, you really feel how confined it is. You feel, a degree of the panic.
Like he's trapped in this whole situation. Like he's very closed in. This whole thing.
Look, set design isn't my thing.
Actually, it is
That's
really
between
interesting
you two.
because it starts off very close on him.
Yeah.
Very tight and confined. But in the ending, after he blew him up, suddenly the shots are very wide,
Yes.
very open. Like it's, pun not intended, but just like this whole thing's now been blown open. It's no longer this confined thing. Now it's going to become this bigger thing.
It's almost like
It's opened up.
It's almost like in this case, murder, like taking a life, fulfills, because they had the conversation earlier in the show.
Mhm.
What's it like when you kill someone? Butcher states that he's a murderer. Frenchie talks about his first kill and how many people he's killed, and then it goes out when he murders Translucent, and it's almost like it fulfills the same purpose as like the forbidden fruit. Like he takes a bite of it, he becomes and embraces that, and then boom, his worldview shifts and he suddenly understands.
Yeah.
He's on the other side of that now and he can't go back.
Mm-hmm.
And the lighting in that is like it's very dark, and there's just like the single light pouring in from the window behind him.
Yeah.
And
I think it was to the side of him. There was no window
the side of
behind
him. Yeah.
Like he's being enlightened. This whole new world is just—he's been not welcomed in, but now he is officially a part of this whole new world. Like he was almost given a chance to get out. Yeah, he probably would have gotten fucked over, but
He was given a chance
that
to stop the
chance.
ride.
But he was like, "Nope, I'm in it for the long haul," and kaboom.
Kaboom, indeed.
I don't know. I suppose it does kind of fit that thing they were trying to do with him, where he felt very confined into, like, he didn't know what to do. He felt trapped in this whole situation. So that's why the area, the way it was shot in that one small, like, restaurant, was just very tight shots, compact rooms, even in the car. And the colors were much more muted than they were in the previous episode.
Right.
But personally, I mean, again, just from what I think I like the look of the first episode better, and this one's just, it felt almost just edgy.
It was very.
But
dark
like I
and-
get why they did it. I get what they were going for. Just for me personally, I think I preferred the other.
I suppose to go the other way from you here. I feel like every time Homelander was in shot, like he was never shown at night, right?
Mm-mm.
Like aside from last episode when he shot the plane down, we haven't seen him at night ever.
Mm-mm.
So like, where Homelander goes, brightness and warmth follow. like in terms of set design and shots and lighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the exception of like the close-ups on like his intense expressions, like
Mm-hmm.
Stillwell's office was lots of open light. The windows were open. The furniture and decorations were warm colors. When he was intimidating the Deep.
Yeah, it was just
The
that
Deep
open
was in the
room.
darkness.
Mhm.
He was at the other end of the room, engulfed in the light.
Yeah.
And the Deep was brought forward into the light, at which point he then imposes himself on him. Never fully crossing into the darkness, but threatening Deep from the light. It's almost like he encapsulates everything. Like the lighting is trying to tell us, like the world itself of the boys says, this man is good.
You're basking in his presence.
Exactly. Larger than life. I think that's even referenced at one point. It's like everybody likes to bask in their glow. By one of the senators at one point.
Yeah.
But I really feel like the show does a good job of using the lighting and stuff like that to really follow, particularly Homelander with that.
So something I kind of like is Starlight. I just started thinking about this. Is she flickers the lights and it can so it's kind of goes from like light to dark. And it's almost like now she's being faced with that sort of conflict of like, do I keep my positive light outlook on the world, or do I let that darkness come in? So that's when you see the lights flicker, it's almost like, I know it's her power, but like the way it looks is almost like
it
she's
represents the
arguing.
struggle.
Yeah, like
That's I like that. That's a good observation.
Yeah.
You got anything to say about it, Jordan, or is this
Look,
not?
set design is not.
Well, you can talk about
stuff
anything
like
here.
that.
We're just talking about like the
my-
technical aspects of it.
technical aspects are not my thing.
Sure.
I'm a character person.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Although the special effects had to be painful for the crew, particularly the translucent pissing in a cup.
Oh my god.
All right. Okay. I was actually really confused. So he peed in the cup and then threw the cup over there, right?
Yeah.
Why didn't he just pee on the wires? They were close enough.
I feel like he didn't want to stick his dick through the fence.
He could have just pissed through the
Also,
fence.
if any of the piss hit the electrified.
That's literally been proven that can't happen. It's not a
Is that-
continuous stream. Yeah. There's a MythBusters episode about that.
I don't remember that.
We'll have to check that out after this.
I mean, I guess, is there any proof Translucent wouldn't know that? Also,
that's true. He could have just not known.
I
and that
also
was a
feel like
quicker-
you can definitely get more precision and accuracy, not with your dick.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'd argue he could have aimed his dick.
I'm not saying
you
he
see-
couldn't, but like you're gonna get a larger concentration of liquid on those batteries, faster, and it probably more accurately. Like what happens? What happens if he gets the dreaded triple shot?
JR, you see people throwing a football for sports and entertainment because you can aim a football. You don't see people out with their dicks on a football field trying to
Pissing
get
footballs.
What? Hold on. What?
No, he's got a point.
You're far
I've
more
never
accurate
seen
with a
anyone's dick in
football.
football.
You are at, all right. You know what? You got me. Your dicks aren't in football. That's right.
You can throw a lot more
You
accurately.
can definitely throw
I-
farther and more accurately than you can pee.
I'm just saying, like, because at first I understood it, because the way it shot, it looked like the batteries were like further across the room, right?
Right.
But then when they showed that wide shot, they were like right next to the cage. That's why I'm like, what was with the cup? That's why. Like, you guys definitely have a good point. I'm just saying, like, the way I saw it, I was like, what?
Just pee on the batteries,
pee
bro.
on just piss on the batteries. What's with the cup? But it was a cool effect, so I mean, realistically.
Very impressive, and I imagine it took a lot of time.
Yeah, like, if they just deadass did that purely for the effect, it's like, okay. It's literally not that big a deal. I had a gripe with it.
Can't have been fun to do Translucent's special effects.
Oh,
Or
when they were
either
like
of the
carrying him into the
episodes.
trunk, like you
Yeah.
could just see him, like the actor having to like act like he was holding something,
Yeah.
and just like whenever I
so,
see stuff like that, that's so
The
hard
coffee
to do.
cup effect, where people hold a cup of coffee but there's nothing in it,
Yeah.
so they pretend that there's coffee.
Yeah.
which is just pointless. Just put coffee in the damn cup.
Yeah, just put something in there, water. So,
Hell yeah.
so when they're lifting him into the car, you can kind of see Huey like, kind of
Trying.
like trying to, and they lined it up pretty good, but it still just looked a little like, I know you're not holding anything, or if
Could
you
they
are
not have,
holding
like,
something,
Put a stuntman in there or something.
I mean, they need
a
to
green screen.
that.
Yeah, like a. Well, they could have done that. Just had a dude wearing like a green, or even just like a green screen dummy they were holding, and then
I feel like they could get a similar effect with just 2 green screen bricks. Like 2
they
greened
could have
out
done
bricks.
that too. Yeah.
And then they actually have some weight to like move around and play with.
Yeah.
Well, because they had to make sure they both looked like they were holding the body,
Right.
so it probably would have been like an actual
Mannequin.
human body mannequin.
I mean, but then that means that's more of their legs and like stuff that they're moving that's then blocked by green. And they gotta
Either way,
do
it just
another
looked a
pass.
little off to me.
It did look a little bit off.
But
what can you do?
it was so quick, and the general audience isn't going to notice something like that.
So I'm gonna move on to sound really quick
Yes.
because there's one particular sound motif that they're starting that it's like officially a pattern now, and it's like they're basically representing Huey's panic attacks, his anxiety attacks, with like that growing high pitched sound until like it just bing, and then he like you can tell the moment where he gets control and is moving
Where
forward.
he snaps and just makes a decision, yeah.
And it's very interesting to me how they play with that and how they are they use it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Because didn't they use it when he started punching the wall?
Yep.
Yeah, and then they used it right before he...
They also used it when he was in the car ride when Butcher was talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
They use it all the time. Like they're basically it almost feels like at some point some early version have the script had an internal monologue and someone was like, nah, fuck it, we don't need that, and then just replaced it with that.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a very go-to thing to represent sort of like an internal panic.
Yeah.
Is the hype. But I mean, they use it well here. I like the like I said, I kind of like the sort of droning sound they had when not Highland.
Oh, we're going to Scotland.
Homelander was looking through the wall at Stonewall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just like it took that sort of, because before it just seemed like, oh man, he might be in love with this woman. That's what's going on, and it just that sound changed it to a very off-putting, like, oh wait a minute, this is like a weird like sort of obsession with something or someone.
I really do think that this show uses sound to great effect.
Mm-hmm.
Like its sound effects, the electrocution whenever Translucent gets it, using ambient sound to establish a scene or like the stillness of a moment, and especially like not the like actual score, but like what would you call it? Like the supporting sounds like that really add height to a
ambient?
moment. Is it ambience? I'm not sure, but like I really think it does well with that.
Music
because
cues?
you get stuff like that with Starlight too. Like there's this weird kind of like tinkling kind of thing, I guess is how you would describe that. Whenever Starlight's like not just channeling her power, but when she's like ready to, like especially like when she's ready to like threatening the deep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, yeah, I see.
Oh.
That's all I had.
Even the punches,
Yes.
they sound so. They're like not the normal stock movie punches you'd hear. These sound just so fucking brutal.
Yes.
Like it's almost like they took like the slapping of skin
Yeah.
that you'd normally have, and like the director or the sound guy was like, let's add a bit of cracking in there too, just a little extra. And that's why, like, when that one, we were talking earlier, like, hey, you'll get this money if you get beat up by this guy, and you hear like the bone shatter. I'm like, this fucker's dead. Like,
I wouldn't be surprised if like they had somebody in the Foley room like punching like a side of beef or something to try and get it, and they're like, this isn't working, and then some guy just walked in with a bat. Just really get like a deep.
So instead of Rocky, they had Negan come in.
because that would be interesting if that's what they did, because it's like they're not normal humans punching something. So
Yeah.
instead they took in something that could give you a little more leverage, a little more power, and use that instead.
Like to me, that's really what it sounds like. Granted, I have never taken a bat to the side of beef.
You ever just gone out to the farmland and beaten up some cows?
No, don't do that.
That's good.
That's
That's
sad.
good.
You're
Shouldn't do
making
that.
me
I'm
sad.
sorry.
Poor cows.
Wait, that wasn't your family tradition?
Aw,
Here in Iowa?
stop.
Whoa, easy there.
No. The corn gods must be appeased.
Otherwise, the children of the corn will come and get us.
What do you think is coming next?
Think you're about okay. So I think Starlight's gonna get in some super big trouble. 'Cause she was caught and they were freaking out. So I think she's gonna get fired, and then Huey and her are gonna meet up again, and that's how she's gonna join them and fight in the soups.
Okay.
I think you're mostly right, except for she won't be fired. She'll be like reprimanded and all that.
Like a temporary suspension or something.
Maybe not even a suspension, but
Mm.
just like a stern talking to you. You can't go helping people unless we say so or stuff like that.
That's true. Yeah. What if it's something like you can't go off the record? You're like when you are doing hero work, you are doing it on our time.
I think you're right about the Huey thing, just like I said last episode. That she was going to team up with them by the next episode.
What about you? What do you think's gonna happen? Oh, you've already seen
I've
it.
seen
You know
it.
what happens. You
Yeah,
can't
that's
say,
why
you
I'm
got
acting
nothing
as
to
moderator for this.
Yeah, tell
Okay,
us what
so-
happened.
What do you think is next for the
Don't.
deep?
say. For the deep.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of go down a list of characters and you
Okay.
tell me what you
What
think
was
is
really
next.
weird is that he's a douchebag, but this weird part of me was like, is he gonna get what's coming to him, or is he gonna like learn the error of his ways?
He does kind of seem like a pathetic dog.
Yeah.
Like almost like if
But
somebody
even then,
just
I'm-
had the
I'm just
kindness
like-
to set him straight.
But even then, like I'm just sitting here and I'm like, the shit he did, like that's not
no, that's not okay.
that's not okay. You don't really just come back from that. You know what I mean? Like what sort of redemption could you get from that, if any? So, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen with the deep.
I think it's gonna end in a fight between Starlight and the Deep.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe next episode, and that's she has to leave the tower for a while, and that's where she meets Huey and the Butcher.
Where do you think they kind of almost seem to go together? So I'm gonna say, what do you think is next for Homelander and Stillwell's relationship?
I think Homelander's gonna start pushing more for him to be in charge, and I think it's gonna start getting to the point where he's not really asking for more responsibility. He's more telling them like, no, I am, like you're gonna start listening to me more. I think that's what's gonna happen. Maybe not directly in the next episode, but that's what's gonna start happening with him.
Yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen by the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't know where the relationship goes.
I really. Which character do you want next?
I was gonna say, so Frenchie was introduced this episode.
Frenchie?
So,
I like Frenchie.
Let's have a little recap of Frenchie, of what you think, and then from there, what do you think he's going to contribute moving forward, and where that's going?
I like Frenchie. He's got that sort of classic French pompousness to him. That stereotypical sort of, yes, croissant, you know.
He's going to die
No!
very, very soon.
Is that what you think, or do you know?
Yeah, I think.
I don't think he's gonna die.
And to show Huey what they're actually in for, not that he's got to get 100% in, and not almost let Translucent out of his cage and let him go free.
What about Butcher? Butcher, you know, we've really been getting a lot of, like, small snippets from people. Like, there was the offhanded comment about how he's the reason it's impossible to go after Soups. Clearly, this isn't the first time he's done stuff like this.
Yeah.
He's worked with the government in the past. So, what do you think is going through his head right now, and what do you think is going to happen with him next?
He was a double agent superhero.
I think, well, we're clearly going to learn more about what happened in his past. And I think it's going to start to, I don't know, because now part of me is like, well, clearly we need to see their reaction to the fact that Huey just blew the fuck out of Translucent.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just now kind of like, well, it all really depends on, I think, how he reacts to that. On how his character is going to move forward with it all. The same with Huey. I think their reaction is going to influence how he moves forward as well.
Well, that was the next thing. Is what do you think is next for Huey?
Yeah.
So you're saying it's going to depend on how they react to the situation.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, he's got to go all in now.
Oh, I think he's all in now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not. I got
He did a murder.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more curious to see the hero's reaction off of what JR was saying of Translucent's death.
Okay.
If they're like, Translucent's dead, and who do they think killed him? If it's gonna be like,
Well,
it's Billy the Butcher.
I think Highlander is gonna put it together quickly because he was at that place,
But he never saw the
but
Butcher.
he saw them there, and
He
then they're
only
gonna
saw Frenchie.
see. Oh, that's true. He only saw Frenchie. Well, he's gonna know to look for Frenchie.
I mean, not necessarily. That really depends on how he conducts his investigation and what. I guess that depends on how much power he's able to grab and how much information
That's
he's
true.
given.
Damn it! It's so hard to predict now. Because like so much of it really I feel like is depending on what the reactions in the next episode on how things move forward.
So they mentioned he had X-ray eyes. How could he not find Translucent then? He
It
was
seemed
right
like
outside.
He was flying in a grid pattern, like he had figured out the 10-block area was going and making multiple passes. And I
Good.
think that the reason that they did what they did is because they figured they had a certain amount of passes. But like I think realistically he could have just found him and like. Now, granted, X-ray eyes don't let you find invisible people.
That's true.
I guess.
So,
But then he should have been able to see that there were 3 people in this building.
Sure, but like that's not inherently suspicious. And this
I mean,
cover
this is
story
a guy-
Frenchie gave was kind of.
This is a guy who
Convincing.
just blew up a plane for somebody knowing
I mean-
Compound V.
Don't know if he's gonna take out 10 city blocks over it though.
yeah, it's a little harder to cover up than a plane blowing up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, but
Over
what are they
the-
going to
over the
do
water,
to
over
him
the
if
water.
he ever did?
Well, I feel like that might actually be a kind of a thing for Homelander is, you know, how much like that's definitely something to keep an eye on is how much does he care about the system and how much does he care about what Vought Media wants. Because as of right now, that would be a big problem for Vought, and he loves Vought.
He appears to be very loyal to Vought.
You could say he's been fought off. No, don't!
What?
Well, now it just sounds like you hit me.
I didn't hit you.
Every time it comes down to you hitting him, JR, there's always fighting in these podcasts.
Don't fucking gaslight me. You
What?
got up and smacked me.
What? No. What? Stop it.
Rouse, you got up and hit me. You said, that's it, and then you hit me. Jordan saw it. Jordan, don't back out here. You saw him hit me.
You are all
I
incriminating
can't.
me.
Ah!
You can't silence Jordan by hitting him, Rouse.
Yes. However, only one of us will be editing.
Oh, so you're just going to edit our voices out as you beat us. Laughs maniacally. You're sick. This is Homelander.
Jesus Christ. Somebody's been watching too much Joker.
I've seen that movie like 5 times. It's
a
fucking
good movie.
It's so good. What?
Watching Homelander as we go forward is definitely something we should do and pay attention to, you know, where his priorities lie and how much faith he has in whatever it is. Like what, because we know so little about his motivations. So keeping track of what those motivators are and where they end up lying is going to be, I think, pretty interesting and pivotal to his character going forward.
And I want backstory on most of these heroes at this point. You can't go 3 episodes without backstory on most of these heroes.
I mean,
You could.
yeah. And
I mean, the problem is it's already an established world, so we have to have some kind of background.
The Deep's backstory was hinted at.
What was his
Slightly.
backstory?
When he said when he joined, he had to go through his own shit.
also, while we're talking about it, I'm pretty sure there was a comment in episode 1 by Butcher that there's, like, no records of Homelander.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he said he basically said Homelander, like Stonewall said, is Stillwall said he's pure
Well, then
angel.
they were just talking to the CIA person, and they're like, "We got records on all these superheroes." Did he just lie? About not
Homelander
having-
wasn't one of them.
I don't
was
think
he?
it wasn't.
Wasn't one of the ones he mentioned.
I don't
no.
think it was. They didn't have records of Homelander. I think it was he didn't have records of Homelander doing anything bad.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, because
Or
he
was
said
it
because he
before-
knew he was.
Or was it
clean.
before he was Homelander?
I guess we'll have to watch that. I don't know.
Well,
Because they've been watching all the superheroes at this point, at least the 7.
Well, I don't think the CIA is currently doing that.
But
I
they
think these
did
are
at
old
one point.
files. Also, the things in files aren't necessarily just your activities, but also information they have about you. You know, your likes, dislikes. Like they don't just collect what you do. And I think the reason he was looking for that information wasn't to look up dirt on Translucent. I think it was hopefully to try to get his hands on something resembling a weakness.
that's why. Yeah, that's what I thought too when I was watching it. Could be like Batman, because Batman has ways to kill all the Justice League.
Not
Or-
kill. Batman doesn't kill.
Not but
Incapacitate.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, at least incapacitate. He get his
That was the
kryptonite
other
and
thing.
his belt.
Didn't they say they weren't actually trying to kill Translucent, but incapacitate him?
No.
Well, they had.
he said the
he was
shock. You go.
incapacitated.
Hmm.
They didn't have a way to kill him beforehand, so they had to incapacitate.
Oh, okay.
And Frenchie had stated that he could count on a number of on one hand the number of soups he had been able to kill. That mostly he focused on trying to incapacitate them.
Yeah.
Why has he killed so many superheroes at this point?
I think it's because he's a gun runner and he's like by trade, like he's committing crimes, so he gets into conflict. He gets into conflict with them more than an average person would because he's basically seeking them out by committing all these crimes, and he specializes in developing air quotes weapons and utilizing things in order to combat soups for the purpose of gun running.
So you bring up like gun running and stuff. What about the terrorists? I would think they wouldn't really exist anymore.
Well, it sounds like because Vought Media is trying to put them in the military, that
Yeah.
they have a very limited jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just found it weird that we're in this world and terrorists still exist.
I mean,
not
but
not that the superheroes should take care of it. It was just like there are still terrorists in the world,
why would
even
there?
in this super world.
Why would there not be?
I mean, in that same logic, the fact that there are still criminals in this world.
I don't know. This is just me. I was like, that just seems weird that there are still terrorists around.
I mean, I get what you're
Like-
saying, but like, I mean, most terrorist organizations aren't going to be based out of the place they're trying to attack.
It was more. I just didn't associate terrorists would be in this show at all.
That's fair.
That's
the
fair.
soups could be
Like,
terrorists.
you think of like any of like the DC TV shows,
Mhm.
they don't really ever mention terrorists except for like bioterrorists,
Okay.
like no Al Qaeda.
Right.
I think
So I guess that was just like
Not what you were expecting.
superheroes. Terrorists still exist.
that's just still like the world it's set up is trying to be very like, it could be our world.
Trying
but
to be
it's
very
clearly
parallel.
not,
Yeah.
So, all
It's still weird to me though.
right. Well, do you have anything else to say? I'm sorry, you almost opened your mouth.
Hopefully Jimmy Kimmel doesn't come back, or Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he
was like,
was in
Jimmy
this.
Kimmel. What? I was like, oh yeah, Fallon. He was there. Okay. Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah. Keep the fantasy world fantasy and the real world real.
That's what you want.
Yeah, kinda.
Okay.
All right.
I don't like them blending them together.
Okay.
Just a disconnect for me.
Okay. Well, I believe that's. Do you have anything else?
I was just gonna lead us out.
Oh, I was gonna lead us out.
All right, go ahead, Big Daddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. I am Jonathan Rouse.
I am Genesis Ruiz.
And I'm Jordan Beeman.
And I can't steal your catchphrase. You gotta say it.
Well, I was actually going to say,
What?
I was going to go, this has been episode 2 of The Boys Are Back, and name drop again.
Oh, no brain juice?
That's not, brain juice isn't the catchphrase.
What is it? Tickle your brain.
Tickle your eardrums.
Tickle your eardrums. Where'd I get brain juice?
You go down to the supermarket.
Yeah, it's like it's in the back. You gotta ask for it.
Brain juice.
Got some of that brain juice?
There's some guy called the Butcher back there.
Brain juice is the street name of Compound V.
Oh my god. All right. Yeah, go
We've
ahead.
cracked the case,
Do what?
gentlemen.
Just do your outro.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. This has been episode 2 of The Boys Are Back on the Thoroughly Thought podcast. I am Genesis Ruiz.
I am Jonathan Rouse.
And I'm Jordan Beeman.
And thank you all so much for listening.